Alright, so this is another video on trusting the process. Now, you may ask, what do you mean trust the process? That is the process of refinement. Now, as you walk closer and closer and walk after Jesus and you continue down this journey as a Christian, you will be refined. Now, when I first started, I did not like the refinement process. I found it very painful. I found it, irritating, and I often prayed for God to take it away. Just take away the struggles, take away this and that, and just, I wanted it, easy. I wanted God to just take everything away overnight and just make it easy street, basically. It's like, oh, well, I'll give God everything, he'll take care of it, and that's that. But it doesn't work like that. Following God is one of the most painful things that you will have to do. And it's very hard. He says, take measure before you decide to follow after me of the cost. And a lot of people just jump into this Christian life head first, and they don't take stock of what it is. What are they doing? They're following God. They're like, yes, but they don't realize the true cost, the pain of it. Now, some people might wonder, what are you talking about? Like, what cost? Well, one is the cost is when you give your life to Christ, is you're no longer your own. You've been bought. You've been crucified with him. The old you is dead, and you have a new you. You're born again. But you're also not yourself. Basically, you don't have ownership of yourself. God owns you. And he's always, but as you follow him, you realize you don't have a right to your life. It's following his will for your life. And a lot of people don't want to actually follow along as a disciple, which is different. Don't get me wrong, being saved and a disciple is completely different things. But if you are to follow after God and you want to, you're going to go through refinement. And that's what everybody goes through. But you are going to be refined, and it is going to be painful. Now, some of you may ask, what's refinement? Well, think of gold. Okay, it's mentioned in the Bible a few times. And what a lot of people don't know is gold, in its regular state, is very malleable. You can mold it to whatever shape you want, and it's almost, if you could melt it and could actually touch it with, special gloves on, you could mold it into whatever shape you wanted, and it would be responsive to it. The only time it goes hard is when they add alloy to it that hardens it. So, other than that, real gold is soft even when it's hardened. If they don't use the alloy to really harden it, you can get soft gold. And that's why when people bite things, if their tooth went in a little bit, some of that gold was more pure. So they could tell it was pure gold. Some of them is because they would bite it, and they could tell by their teeth go in, so they meant that was there. But it's when they add the alloy to it, makes it hard. Now that can be our hearts. We have to stay malleable for God, but we can go through these refining, which is to strengthen you and make you better. But some people let it harden their hearts. They realize, oh, following God's too hard. I don't like this. I'm going through a lot of pain. I don't want to do this now. It's really painful. So they'll, check out. Now, you're still saved. If you truly believe that and you've confessed that you're ultimately saved, you can't lose that. But people that turn away from God and walk their own path, they won't see the blessings. And one of the things I always think of is you're forfeiting your rewards. Whatever, God has for this amazing plan for your life, if you're going your own way and you're not going to fulfill his plan that he has, which is perfect, you're going to forfeit your rewards. Now, I don't know about you, but I do not want to get to heaven and have nothing to give to my King, who sent his Son to die for me, save me, and here I am getting to heaven, and I have nothing to give him, no crowns, nothing I can offer up to him to show that, hey, I didn't waste the life your Son sacrificed to save me, I used it. Now, what does this have to do with refinement? Well, it's how much you grow. Now, before, as I said, I didn't like refinement. I went through the storms, trials, and tribulations as everybody does, but for me, it cranks it up more. So you may ask, what trials have you gone through? Well, one, self-doubt. As you know, when I was into the corn really bad, as I've shared in this video, I almost took myself out, off the census. That's a previous video you can go watch on, but I was in a very dark place. And then after I sort of went back, I always pray to God to make me stronger, to make me able to bear these burdens. And so what does it do? He puts you through them so you can become strong, so you can be refined and able to bear these hard burdens. Also, think of, besides a goal, think of a blade, of a sword. Okay, this is what a good friend of mine and brother said in a bit of a message he wrote, which I actually really like, and I'm going to borrow some of it, but this is my version of it, is imagine a sword. Now, what happens when you forge a sword that was back, in biblical days, or even now, if you forge a sword, what do you have to do? Well, when you take a unshaped piece of metal, you heat it up, you refine it, and then you pound it and smash it against an anvil with a heavy hammer, and you hammer it into shape, which a lot of people do, by hand, some of them. And so it took a long time to make a sword. So this is similar to the way God is. God will take you, and you have to remain a malleable piece of metal, and he will smash you on the anvil with his hammer, because his goal is to break you. When you get to the breaking point and you break, similar to the way the military trains you, is he can now rebuild you. He can take your brokenness and put you back together the way you're supposed to be with your new life. And he refines you through the heat and storms, whether that's struggles with corn, you could be extremely lonely, and you can have a whole host of different refinements and just seasons you go through. Now, last few days I've been going through a lonely bit of season. I mean, I didn't feel God much. Usually I do, and I, wonder why am I going through this, and although I didn't have an answer, I look at it now as refinement. So instead of crying about it, I say, thank you, God, and I endured. As I learned from my previous ones, this one, I kept praying, I kept reading my Bible, I kept trying to live for God, and I keep walking after God, even if I don't feel him, I know he's there. So you can't go off feelings either. Just scripture says he's there, and so that's what I did. I believed he was there, and I continued walking, and I kept my faith, and now I'm coming out of it, and I'm stronger. And you may ask, why are you refined? Well, think about it. Say you're a guy, okay? And you want a wife someday, which is what I'll probably have someday. God will send me one when I'm ready. But also there's refinement. Think about it. If you're a weak man, how are you going to lead a wife and children and have all this support if you're going on your own strength? You just can't do it. You're going to fail. That's why it says to give your burdens to God. And what is the proper way? Well, marriage is supposed to be between a man and a woman, but it is a man that is submitted to God, and then the wife submits to the husband. But in order for that, you have to submit to God, and as a man, you have to go through refinement. God's not going to have a weak, shoddy sword that hasn't been tempered and tested to lead one of his daughters and eventually your children. If you're weak, if you break at the first sign of, trouble or pressure, and you just snap and give up, well, you let your family down, you let your wife down, and you fail. So God isn't going to give you anything until you're ready, because the right thing at the wrong time will destroy you. That's my biggest fear, is I'm letting God, he's got it in control. I could be out right now. I could be with a woman. I could be dating. I could have a girlfriend. I could be doing, this. I could date her. I could probably lead a woman right now. Like, if I wanted to, it wouldn't be that overly difficult. But I know that if I went out and did it myself, I would ultimately fail in the end. I would screw it up, and I would tear her heart out, and I'd probably shatter my own, and we would both be worse off than we were, if we were lonely. So that's a whole other thing. But this is just about the refinement. Is next time you go through these seasons, you're not alone. Everybody goes through them. I'm going through them, and I do. Thank God for it. Okay, just continue doing what he says. Read his Bible, pray, talk to him. Even if you don't feel like it, do it. Doesn't matter. Whether you feel like it or not, you do it. That's going by faith. And if you do that, you'll come out on the other end stronger. Look, crows, see? Ravens are playing. I love nature. I've been seeing a lot more of it since God's been, following God. I've been seeing a lot more of nature, and I like it. Anyways, so I got off track by the birds flying. Is trust the process. Don't give up. Keep walking after God, and eventually you'll find you'll come out, you'll be more refined, and you will be stronger. So I want you to remember that and just stay strong. Keep walking after God. He hasn't forgotten you. You're not left alone, and he's always beside you. This has been A Voice in the Wilderness, a soldier and bondservant of Christ, and signing off. May God bless and watch over you. May you have a blessed day. Amen.